everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. We're here today to talk to you about Walther's PPS. It's a striker-fired single-stack pistol primarily intended for the concealed carry market. Start out with unloaded. Walther PPS is extremely thin. That's one of the main characteristics of it. It's also very light. It comes from the factory from Walther with a 6-round single stack magazine that fits flush with the grip. It gives you a little under full finger grip. It has the paddle style release, which is right here under the trigger guard. You can operate it with either your left or your right hand. It's fully ambidextrous. Walther also makes a 7-round magazine. Gives you a little bit more grip. Start to make the grip a little bit longer, a little harder to conceal. And for range day, they have an 8-round mag that really turns it into a full-size grip. Despite being thin, this is a very comfortable gun to hold. It's very well balanced, whether you've got the extended magazine in it like this one, or whether you've got a flush mount. It's easy to get a good grip on, it's comfortable to hold, it's very well balanced. It has finger grooves at the front. Nice stippling. These little squares are not rough, they don't hurt your hand, but they do give you a good grip on the gun. Even if your hand's a little bit sweaty, you're going to be able to hold on to this. It does have replaceable back straps. There's underneath the magazine, which I won't take it off, but there's a little button you push. You don't need a tool, you just push the little button, the back strap pops off. One thing on this is when the back strap is off, it does disable the weapon. Walther intends that as part of their safeties. You pull the back strap off, it's inoperable. Some of the other features: it has a Picatinny style rail, allows you to put accessories. It has very nice serrations at the back. They're easy to get a hold of, but they're not sharp. Very nice to grip. It has 3-dot sights, which are very easy to see. They stand right out there. These are the regular daytime sights. They're not night sights, but they're very easy to see. It has a cock striker indicator, this little red protrusion when it's in a cock position. When you fire it, that disappears. This can be used as the trigger pulls, it will protrude. So if you're holstering, if you're in the process of holstering, you could feel that with your finger. So you have your finger here and you feel that poke into your finger, you know something's catching on the trigger. Obviously stop holstering, back up, figure out what's catching the trigger. You can see as you pull the trigger it'll start to protrude. Some of the other features are a viewport has a viewport here for loaded chamber. The extractor will also protrude when the chamber is loaded. Has a beveled ejection port, tries to help ensure clean ejection. The trigger is the split trigger, similar to the Glock. It is a drop-safe weapon. When I take it apart, I'll show you the drop safety. It's very easy to fire, no external safeties, yet very safe. To take it apart, it's extremely easy, like most of the polymer pistols. You point it in a safe direction, pull the trigger, pull back the slide a little bit, and pull down in these two little tabs. There's one on each side. Slide comes off, and you can see that standard polymer frame. Trigger group is here at the back. This mechanism operates the drop safety as you pull the trigger. Dual recoil spring just pops out. 3.2-inch barrel. Very accurate weapon despite having the short barrel. It's a standard rifling. It's not the polygonal rifling like the XDm or the Glock. So you can shoot hard cast bullets in this if you choose. Putting it back together is just simple. Drop the barrel in, put the recoil spring in place, retrieve the frame. One of the things I'll show you before I put it back together are the rails. On this side it has a full-length rail. You can see from one end to the other, full-length rail. On this side it's got a split rail, it has to make room for the slide release mechanism. And there's also a little rail section here at the back. Simply line the slide up, pull it back, cycle it, you're back in action. Now, one of the things, if you're looking at this, you're probably interested in the concealed carry area. So you're going to be looking at some of the other concealed carry options that are available. So I've got a couple of the popular ones here to show you for comparison. Probably one of the most common comparison would be a Glock 26. This is Glock's double stack 9mm. It is unloaded. What you'll see is when you compare these two, we'll start with the thickness. You can see very easily that the PPS is a much, much thinner weapon. So you get 6 in this plus 1, you get 10 plus 1 in the Glock, so you do give up 4 rounds, but you pick up a much thinner weapon, much easier to conceal, and a lot lighter than the Glock 26. When you look at some of the other dimensions, from a length standpoint, they're pretty similar. And when you look at the grips, the Glock is actually a little bit shorter, even with the flush mount magazine. So the double stack allows Glock to, the grip's a little thicker, but that allows them to shorten it. Some of the other common guns that would be used that you might be looking at if you're looking at this would be the new Walther CCP, which you can look for our video on the CCP if you're interested in that one. Another unloaded. Similar to the Glock 26, they're almost identical in slide length. But again, the PPS wins in thickness. The PPS is much thinner. And when you compare the grip heights, the PPS definitely wins grip height. The CCP does hold 2 extra rounds, it holds 8 rounds. But with the flush mount magazines, the PPS is a much shorter grip, much easier to conceal, less likely to print. A couple others that would be possibly in the area that you might look at for comparing. This is a Car PM9, so it's Car's single stack 9mm. Now, the Car is definitely smaller. It's shorter. The grip is significantly shorter, even with the flush mount magazines. But you're going to see that the PPS still wins in the thickness, even by just a little bit. The PPS is still thinner than the Car PM9. The PM9 is Car's what they're calling their premium series. It's much more expensive than the PPS as well. Another pistol that would be in the area you might be considering would be something along the lines of the Burst of Thunder, which is a Walther PPK clone, which is considered to be a very small pistol until you compare it to the PPS. When you compare it to the PPS, initially it looks like it might be a little bit shorter on the slide until you consider the beaver tail. When you consider the beaver tail, it actually is a hair longer than the PPS. The PPS is definitely going to win in thickness. And what you've got to consider in the PPS, you're getting a full 9mm, and in the Burst of 380 or Walther PPK, you're getting a 380. So you can, in a lighter, thinner, and actually a hair shorter pistol, get the full 9mm caliber. Now, one thing you might want to consider or think of is this going to be pleasant to shoot? It's a small, light 9mm, and it actually is. It's very well engineered, it's very comfortable in the hand, it's easy to grip, and it's a pleasure to shoot on the range. It's amazing how nice this is to shoot on the range. You would think that it would be a beast for recoil, and it's not. It's very smooth, it's very easy to hold. The slide is relatively light to cycle. Overall, it's a very easy to live with gun and has a lot of nice features, including drop-free magazines. Features you tend to find in more combat-oriented guns in a very nice, easy-to-conceal package. Thanks. If you like our video, please share, give us the thumbs up, and subscribe.